Today in the session, right now, I'm being joined by Sasha Daniels from Fulbright Noir, who I will ask to introduce themselves in a second, but just a little bit of housekeeping before we get into that. Everything is being recorded today, so you should be able to check things back at a later date if there's information that you want to go back to, or if you're going to miss a session that you think is relevant to you, please know that you'll be able to find the recording and head to that. We also have our Q&A box active today, so if you wish to answer questions throughout the session, please put them in there. Myself or my colleague Angelina will read them, and then we will be able to direct them to the panelists. So please don't be afraid to ask questions. And with that done, Sasha, if you're ready and would like to introduce yourself, please do.
There, I'm trying to put my video on, but it's not allowing me for some reason.
I wonder if, Angelina, if you made Sasha a co-host.
Just give me a moment. I don't think I have this option. Can you try doing so?
We'll give it a go. There we go. You should be able to do it now.
Okay, perfect.
Great. Hi, Sasha. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. So yeah, if you could introduce yourself and talk a little bit about Fulbright Noir and who they are and what they do, just to kick us off today.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Hi, everyone. My name is Sasha Daniels. I am the co-chair and communications and outreach officer for Fulbright Noir. I am originally from Washington, D.C. I currently live in Austin, Texas, where I'm doing my master's and later my doctorate as well. I did my Fulbright in 2018. I went to Germany for 2 years, and I was an English teaching assistant there. When I was in Germany as well, that's when I got involved with Fulbright Noir. Fulbright Noir actually started a year or two before I did my Fulbright grant, and it was started by four Black American grantees who went to Europe. So they were in different countries between France, Belgium, and Spain. And they saw a need for Fulbright in general, because when they applied for their countries, they noticed that they really didn't have too many people that looked like them. They couldn't really find a place to find community amongst Black Fulbrighters. So they joined together between 3 countries and created Fulbright Noir. And so when I went to Germany and they presented my first month in Germany, I thought it was the greatest organization ever, and I wanted to be part of it as well. So I got involved with them. We ended up having our first conference while I was in Germany as well. Our first conference was in Belgium, and that brought Black Fulbrighters from all over Europe to meet in Brussels for a 3-day conference. And ever since then, I knew I wanted to be involved with Fulbright Noir, and that's how I became the co-chair and communications and outreach officer as well.
Great, thank you. And I guess just to expand on that a little bit, talking about, so you mentioned Fulbright Noir being there for Black Fulbrighters who are in Europe on their grant. Is that open as well to say, so today we're talking to people applying from the UK, if there are Black students or postgrads or scholars from the UK who are going to be in the US, would they also be invited to join Fulbright Noir and partake in different activities and such?
Definitely, like Fulbright Noir, it started for Black Americans going to different countries, but ever since then, we've expanded to the entire African diaspora. So it doesn't matter if you are from Europe, if you're from the Caribbean, if you're from Africa, and going to the US. If you're a Black person involved with Fulbright, then you are welcome for Fulbright Noir.
Great. So you did your Fulbright in Germany, and Fulbright Noir was already up and running while you were there. So you said you were able to go to the conference. Was there any other support that Fulbright Noir provided at the time, or is it more just nice knowing that you had a community that you could always turn to if need be?
Yeah, so the conference was kind of actually at towards the end of my year, but throughout my year, it is kind of like a support system. So we have our online presence on Instagram. And so that way you can easily find other people who are either in the same country as you, have gone to the same country as you, and you kind of just want some insight. So usually what we do is if you contact the Instagram page, one of our people who runs the Instagram page, usually our social media chair, will get you in contact with someone who can help you out, who has expertise in that country. Mm-hmm. And even from anything to, I need support at the school that I'm teaching at or the university that I'm at, to like where is the best place to eat and where do I get my hair done? So everything.
Yeah, and I guess while we're on that topic, you mentioned the Instagram. Are there any other platforms that people here today would be able to find Fulbright Noir on? And if so, how do they find you? What's the @ on Instagram for Fulbright?
So our tag on Instagram is just at Fulbright Noir. So just as we normally have it, I can type it in the chat as well. We're working on our website now. So once that is up and running, it'll be connected to our Instagram. And on the website, what we're planning to do is also have a directory. So that way you'll be able to search whatever country you're interested in going to. So especially for everyone here trying to go to the US, you would have a lot of resources for people to find. And yeah, the directory that way is just really great to find people in the whole Fulbright network.
Great. That sounds really useful. Are you on Fulbrighter as well? So once people are on the program, they have access to that too. I suppose you talked a little bit about the reaching out on social media and being able to learn about the country you're going to beforehand. And I suppose today, because we're talking to people from the UK going to America, and America is really huge, and your experience, depending on where you are in America, may differ, and depending on the kind of campus you're on. But as an overview, what should a Black person from Britain expect going into America, or what do you think is important for them to know where we are right now?
I think given where things are right now, usually if you're in a larger city, you're pretty much safer in the sense that you don't have to worry about too much. People will be very interested to know that you're from the UK. That I think maybe the first thing that especially people notice, accent and things of that nature. But then once you get into more deeper conversations, there may be conversations about like where you may be from, things like that. If you're going to a smaller place, if you're going to a smaller place, like a smaller campus, you may oftentimes be one of the only Black people there, depending on what part of the US you're going to. So be prepared for that. For example, I'm in a fairly large city now, but I'm also in the South, and I'm in Austin, Texas. There aren't a lot of Black people here, and you kind of have to find your own communities. So I managed to find a community here of Black people, but especially as someone who's Black from Britain, you might have to find those specific communities on your campus. And at different American campuses, there are BSUs, so Black student unions, Black graduate student associations, things of that nature for Black students, no matter where you're from. So that would also be for Black American students, and that could be like a resource for you.
And presumably a lot of campuses will have international students associations as well.
Oh, yeah.
For British students.
Especially larger campuses, definitely there's going to be resources for international students, but even smaller campuses, because a lot of small universities specialize in certain majors or topics, and they draw in international students because of what they specialize in. So they'll also have like an international student coalition or some type of group there.
You mentioned a little bit in there the Black Students Union and the Black Graduate Students Union. I think that's at least something like an official students union beyond having an association, something that might be a little unfamiliar to students from the UK. So could you maybe talk a little bit more about the support that someone might be able to find from organizations like that while they're in the US?
Yeah, in a sense, they kind of do the same thing as Fulbright Noir does for Fulbright. Oftentimes for, at least when I was in my undergraduate, our BSU was a sense of, obviously a sense of community just for Black students. I went to my undergrad in a very small place in West Virginia. I think the whole population of my university was about 30,000. And I know that sounds large for the UK. But the Black population of my campus was only about 4% out of 30,000 people. So finding community was very important for us. And so whether it be understanding about being the only Black person in your major, or just trying to find places, again, to socialize, to know where to get our hair done, or things of that nature, just finding that sense of community. And also holidays are a big thing too. So if you can go home for the holidays, having that sense of community, especially if you find like a Black American group, they can show you like American holidays and things like that. I know Thanksgiving is really big here. And when a lot of international students come, they want to experience Thanksgiving, but you don't have that family setting. So especially if you're a Black student coming from the UK, you may miss home, you may miss family. you can find that here at between either the Black Student Union or Black Graduate Student Association, as long as you have that like sense of community.
I think that talking about things like holidays is kind of important as well, because a lot of those holidays are when people leave campus to go and find their families. So having a community who you can, when sort of that isolation and culture shock might hit you, I imagine having the full knowledge that actually there are people that you can spend time with during those periods is probably really, really good to know that exists.
Yeah, a lot of times the international students come together and have their own like American Thanksgivings, and it's really fun. And oftentimes, like if it's a Thanksgiving amongst your friends, we just call it Friendsgiving. So even when I was in Germany, between all the English-speaking teaching assistants, the Americans kind of had our own Friendsgiving because we missed home and we missed our Thanksgiving. So we put on a big Thanksgiving for our German friends and our British friends and everyone also who wanted to experience a Thanksgiving.
Are there any particular culture shocks that you think someone might experience going to the US right now?
Possibly the fact, well, a person from the UK, a Black person from the UK, may want to find that kind of solace with Black Americans as well. But I think a culture shock to expect is that a lot of Black Americans aren't really used to Black people from the UK, as far as knowing that there are many Black people who are in other parts of the world. So they may ask you just a lot of questions like, what's it like being Black in the UK? And just like you may have questions for Black people in America, what's it like being Black here? So in one sense, there is that community, but there will also be that kind of sense of differentiation to where to us, just kind of seeing the UK, and a lot of Americans don't know too much about the UK besides London and maybe some actresses or musicians and things of that nature. So culture shock, you may be surprised at how little we know versus how much you know about the US. So don't be surprised if you get some questions like, oh, do you eat fish and chips all the time or something like that. But nothing, I don't think anything too drastic, honestly.
Could we hear a little bit about your perspective, especially as a student in the South, what advice you'd give to someone coming to the South for the first time, particularly if they're Black, and what to expect from the South compared to the rest of the US?
So yeah, the South is a very special place, and the rest of the US. So I'd say the most liberal parts of the country tend to be the North, the East Coast, the West Coast. The coasts are definitely pretty liberal. Depending on where you are in the South, there are certain pockets that are very liberal, very educated. So for example, where I am in Austin, it's considered a liberal bubble because yes, we're in Texas, but it's a very blue hub in Austin. But some things that you may expect, not even just being Black in the South, but also being someone foreign, not American in the South, you'll not see as much diversity depending on where you are. Things that you may have seen in the news that you are, I guess, there's like, so for example, here in the South, that people kind of have their certain symbols of pride and things of that nature that are a bit controversial. So those are things that you may see that may shock you. Then also you would have to talk to someone about that, like why they're displaying certain symbols. Racism is a large thing here in the South. Things that I've experienced personally, nothing blatantly against myself since I've been here. However, I have heard of cases from other friends of mine in the university, and you'll see a lot of things. You may not experience it yourself, but you'll see a lot of things that kind of make you scratch your head. So, for example, the elections were last year, and we've had a new president. However, you'll still see banners all over the South, especially even in Austin, wherever you go, and they may be a little bit shocking, but it's definitely something to get used to.
But are you able to find support or within your community for anything that happens like that?
Yeah, so if there is anything that happens that is upsetting or just against who you are as a person, whether because of your race, because of your sexuality, anything of that nature, there are still communities. And even on the campus as well, you can report it to the campus. And if anything happens to you, then the campus will get involved and try to mediate the situation, whether they need to take certain actions or not. There is certain people that you can go to for that.
And in terms of sort of support that you might find within communities, you talked about holidays and sort of things against isolation, and you talked also about the Fulbright Noir conference that was held in Belgium last year. Are there things that Fulbright Noir does that current Fulbrighters can participate in? So I know a lot of things are online at the moment, and a lot of it operates through an online platform, but what sort of events or support might a current Fulbrighter be able to find through Fulbright Noir?
So unfortunately, a lot is online right now, and we really, really, really want to have another conference again. That was one of the main things that the board tried to plan, is we want to think of a conference, especially not just one in Europe, because we want to make it sure it's accessible to everyone in all parts of the world. So we're really kind of juggling where we want to do the next conference. Unfortunately, I don't know when that will be possible again, especially if you involve people traveling from different countries and things of that nature. So what we have resorted to now is often what we've been doing is small webinars just with current grantees or people who are applying to go abroad. And so I know last year, before the last cohort went over, we got everyone together who had been accepted and kind of just let the board talk to new grantees as well, because as the board, we represent Black Fulbrighters who have gone to Africa, Europe, Asia, South America. So we really are able to speak for a lot to new grantees. So we kind of have little online kickbacks in a way where everyone can access questions, and we will break out into different breakout rooms, different groups based on region, and try to answer as best as we can, especially based on specific commissions, because every country's commission is very different.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have events like that for either before the grant starts, people who are applying. Sometimes we try to check in mid-year to see how everyone is. And I believe coming up, actually, if not this in a few weeks, then definitely next month, we have city-based ones. So I think the social media chair, she's hosting a get-together in DC, because that's where she's going to university now. And then another one of our board members, she's hosting a get-together in New York. So I think those are going to try to be in person, but we also have an online option for people who want to be able to join in.
Great. And I guess sort of to close this out, is there anything that people should be excited about coming to the US right now? Is there anything going on campuses that you think is exciting? Anything in terms of what, it sounds like those city meetings are something that should be really exciting in terms of being able to find a community immediately. But is there anything else that you think people should look forward to as part of their Fulbrights? Or perhaps, I guess, good things that you experienced in your Fulbright that is a boon of international exchange in general?
Yeah, I think coming to the US will be fun for a lot of people, especially if you've never been here before. It's definitely an experience. One person that I study with, she's from Belgium, and she's studying with me for the next 4 years, and she's never been to the US. So she's discovering all sorts of things, and it's kind of fun to see her like say, "Oh, everyone in Texas is so friendly. Everyone here is so nice." And it's funny to just see her like initial reaction. So I think people should look forward to, American hospitality. Americans are very friendly. Other things on campus, you'll have tons of opportunities that you may not have in European schools. So whether that be football games, or we have like different, especially because this month is Hispanic Heritage Month. So we have different events that get together and showcase Hispanic heritage throughout the entire month. So those are things that you may not be able to experience in different countries. So things that are unique to the US for sure. We like to celebrate our different communities. We like to make sure everyone feels welcome. So I think coming to the US, no matter where you are, you probably are going to have a good time and make a lot of friends.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a delight hearing from you, and I've learned a lot, and I hope everyone listening in has learned something too. You mentioned that you've got a website coming for Fulbright Noir. So people will be able to find out about that on the Instagram,
so the website is currently in the works. I'll type the Instagram in the chat. And as soon as the website is up, we'll post it on the Instagram as well. So it'll be posted. You will not miss it. Trust me. And we will make sure that the word gets out there.
Great.
I'll type the Instagram now in the chat.
So be on the lookout for that if you think it's relevant to you, and check out what's going on the Instagram. And if you're successful this year and want to reach out to Fulbright Noir, the channel is through the Instagram, I believe you said earlier, for if you want to get in touch. So,
and I'll also
simply
put our email if you want to get in contact with me or anyone else on the board. If you have any questions for us, I'll put our email address as well.
Great. That's really helpful. Thank you, Sasha.
No problem. There you go.
Well, thank you so much today, Sasha, for joining me. And I hope you have a great rest of the day ahead of you.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Fulbright UK. It was really great being here and being able to speak to everyone. I really enjoy doing things like this. So whenever you need me back, I'm available.
That would be great. It would be great to have you along again for something. But in the meantime, I hope you have a great day. I hope your master and PhD go well.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing what you get up to in the future.